Hello, and hello, and welcome to the iRacing Brazil coverage of the Class B series here on Friday night. So, going right for the 9 o'clock Eastern big split race. I'm here with Kevin King. Kevin, tonight we're at Texas, and Texas is a very tricky track for a 1.5 miler. Tell us about the track and the characteristics it has.
You know, Texas is one of those tracks where it's really fast, but lately it's gotten bumpier, especially in 1 and 2. There's the tunnel turn, I guess you could say. They have the tunnel goes through 1 and 2, and it makes it really bumpy if you don't hit it correctly. And you have to really hug the line all the way through 1 and 2. And if you get a little too high, it really unloads the right rear of the car, and you can get really loose. 3 and 4 also has some treacherous bumps down low if you get too low. So I expect a lot of guys kind of going in low and drifting up a bit, just to miss those bumps and hold a nice line up off the corner. Because again, if you get a little too wide, it's very easy to get into the wall. And you know, as everyone knows, if you get into the wall in these cars, your race is pretty much over.
Yeah, and these cars are a little more durable than the Class A cars that we're both used to. I know these things, you can hit the wall. I mean, it's not too bad. I don't think you might get less than 20 to 30 seconds of damage. But anyway, we're just loading up into the server now, as it just went up, and looking at the entry list, it looks like a pretty decent group of drivers tonight. It should be an exciting race. I know one of the major teams to look out for, Nexus Esports, they're always fast in this Class B car, so it should be an exciting race.
Yeah, definitely. Texas always provides some really good racing. Just the nature of oval racings and mile and a halves and all the banking, especially with this car with the draft, it should be pretty interesting to see who's going to be able to keep it as loose as possible without being so loose that they can't keep their the throttle down all the way around the track. Expect to see some pretty good racing, and of course some guys making some moves that they probably shouldn't, because it is probably going to be pretty hard to pass with these cars.
Yeah, this car's, like you said, keeping the throttle down. All about momentum here at these 1.5 mile tracks. You want to keep the car as fast as you can, come out of the corners for sure, because with the draft you can lose 2-3 spots just down one straightaway.
Yeah, one of the big characteristics with this car is that it does rely heavily on the draft, I think. Of course, handling comes into play, but you could be the fastest guy in the track, and all of a sudden you lose that draft for one mistake, and you're pretty much never going to catch up unless something happens. So it's really important to make sure you're smooth all the way around the track and keep that draft, and make sure you're not driving too hard out of control.
Yeah. Alright, well, yeah, now we're going to run through the starting lineup for tonight's race, as we got about a minute and a half left to warm up. Brandon Bowie is on the pole tonight with his teammate Armando Vargas on the outside. 17th with Alex Scribner on his outside.
Teammate of mine, David Cater, will start 19th, and looks like Chris Seymour is going to start 20th.
Nick Zotner rolls off 21st, with Andrew Shirtley rolling off 22nd.
Justin Kirby, Old Time Sim Racer, starting in 23rd, along with Dan Gray in 24th.
Adam Long, 23, Carlos up 25th, and Jake Forster, 26th.
And running out the field, it looks like it'll be Vincent Curry starting in 27th.
So 27 cars, very big field, so should be an exciting race. We see, Nexus G-Sport drivers starting 1-2. Let's see alone with kind of a surprise up there to me in third. But 4 out of the top 5 cars, Nexus G-Sports, they're going to be the team to watch tonight.
No, my fault. I should have told you sooner.
Yeah, anytime you have a team that takes a lot of positions in a race, they either have something really good or it's going to be really hard to pass or get around them. So I definitely expect those group of guys to make it difficult for other people to get around and challenge for that win. But it always remains to be seen who has got that fast car in that long run.
Yeah, long run should be a key tonight. I know with a 90-lap race, we should get at least one decent run in tonight. And the qualifying times are pretty spread out, actually. I mean, you look at the top 5 cars are all within a tenth of a second, which is a lot less than we usually see. I know past that, he's got guys back in just in 10th spot, almost 4 times off the pace, so it almost looks like a real nationwide race tonight.
Yeah, that sometimes happens with tracks like this, where you're probably wide open in qualifying. You might mess up just a little bit, and you could probably be 3/10 off coming off of turn number 2. So it doesn't really surprise me that much that you'll see a great spread. And of course, some guys might hit the setups and other guys won't. So then that also takes something into consideration.
Yeah, I know you mentioned your teammate David Cater a little earlier on. This is my first time I've seen him race in a couple months, actually. So he should be a guy to keep an eye on. Always fast in the speed car. I know when you were non-wheelman at the time, but they used to really dominate the series.
Yeah, he's been asking for some B-car setups because I believe he's getting into the mix of things and getting back into the groove of making these setups again for these cars. So the last couple of days he's been asking for some setups from the older series that we ran. So it'll be interesting to see if he was able to put something together. I haven't really seen him test too much, but if anyone knows David Cater, he can put something pretty good together pretty quick.
And he rolls off 19th tonight, so definitely a car to keep an eye on. Alright, well, we're getting down here. Pace car is moving now, where you have the one to green, so we're getting ready for the green flag racing here at Texas. I know last week at Michigan we saw one caution that was on lap 13 with Colin Eastern to second together, and I'm sure you heard about that. And this tonight, let's see if we can, maybe undo that caution and get 0 cautions tonight, but I highly doubt that.
I mean, yeah, anytime you have a draft-related track, such as Texas, it's going to be really hard to make sure that you're not going to have some type of yellow. It's just really hard to pass, and you might see some guys stick it. So it'll be interesting to see who makes those moves and who's smart enough to not do that and end up towards the end of the race.
Good luck,
That's all about keeping your car together for the whole race, and we'll see who's fast. Long run should play a factor. You might see some guys taking some good strategy late in the race to get up front. I believe last season we came to Texas, we saw that, but that race was not broadcasted, unfortunately. Alright, well, pace car's going to get ready to roll off here. Pace car's in. Let's see if Brandon Bowie's going to lead the field away. Let's see when he goes here. Let's wait, and there he goes. Green flag in the air. Pretty good start for Bowie there. He's going to scoot a couple car lanes away from Armando Vargas, with Alexi Aloma looking under him for second place right now.
Yeah, a lot of guys did a really good job there. A few people got checked up towards the back, but unlike DWC, they didn't try to stick it where they didn't need to, and everyone made it through.
Yeah, good job by all these guys. Looking up towards the front of the pack right now. Got the battle for third now. Anthony Koenig's going to take the third spot away from Armando Vargas. Brad Patton behind him in fifth. We'll let Armando in line, and they're going to go single file now. We look back even further in the field now. I believe this is for the 7th position. We see Jeff Dukart looking underneath Brandon Hoff.
Yeah, poor Zach Hudson. I've been watching him for the first couple laps. He got really high in one of the corners, and he's been rim riding for the last lap and a half, going on 2 laps, and he's really falling back right now. He's going to have a hard time. He might go all the way back to nearly last when this is all said and done.
Yeah, this is a track where when you get in the high line, it's not very good because you can't really get any grip up there. And just like in real life, you watch races here, you see cars make runs on the outside. You can't do that here in iRacing.
No, you really can't. It's just the bottom is the king at these tracks, and as I said, he was having some issues. He went from starting 12th to 26th, so he's only 1 position away from being last, and that's definitely not how you want to start your race. But he was taking it easy and didn't want to put himself in a position where he'd be out early. So
yeah, you definitely don't want to put yourself out of the race early on. You want to be able to make it to the end, and I'm sure he'll have fast cars, so he'll be able to get into spots back towards the end of this race. But right now, looking up here, single file out front right now. Brandon Bouya is a 0.3 of a second lead right now on his team, on Alexi Aloma, not his teammate, and Armando Vargas back in third. Single file behind them for the most part. First battle, we actually have to go all the way back to the 15th position right now with Jonathan Dickert and Justin Kirby.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's getting in line pretty well. Everyone's kind of filling out their cars, and you can see the different lines some people take on entry, because it really will affect how you exit the core. Just as Ryan Manning, he's about to take a position. Check that. That's Brandon Hoff took a position from David Cater there. Brandon actually went a little higher into turn 3 and then cut it down really low, exiting the corner, which is a pretty good move to make on a track where you're on the throttle a lot.
Yeah, and Brian Hoff actually just lost spot to Ryan Manning. That's 10th position. But looking up here, almost have a battle for second right now. Armando Vargas in the number 3 machine looks underneath Alexi Aloma in the number 11. Looks like he's going to easily take second spot away, as Alexi can't really do much up high. He's going to try to hang in there, though, but when we get to exit 2 here, the track really narrows up, and he's going to lose the spot.
Yeah, the track it's even worse before then. You always want to figure out where you're going to be exiting the corner, but there's that bump in 1 and 2 just really kills the car right in the middle. So even if you were to set up for that, you're just going to hit it regardless, and it just makes your car push so bad that you're just stuck out there.
We got a big kind of guard going on here right now from third on back. We have Koenig behind him right now. Aloma still trying to get in line, now getting passed by Chad Pruitt. He's hung up on the outside, losing second about a lap and a half ago, and he's already back here to the 6th position.
Yeah, the way it looks like he might end up in the 8th position unless he can get in between the 12 and the 13, but at this point he he might as well just let off a little bit here and get in line, because it's not going to work up there.
Yep, and battle for the lead, it looks like. Yes, Armando Vargas to the lead, a number 3 machine. Goes right around his teammate Brandon Bowie out of turn 4 right there. And it's kind of surprising. Bowie had a decent gap on these guys, but Armando's car really kicked in the last couple laps.
Yeah, I don't know if Brandon's really loose. He's actually in the corner pretty low, which indicates he might be a little free, but we'll see if the little arrow push that he's going to get behind Armando here is going to help him out, but he looks pretty loose in that car.
Yeah, I saw him get a little sideways off turn 2 before. The draft's a big factor, though. As long as he can stay in the number 3 car's draft of Armando Vargas, he'll be alright. But it looks like he has Anthony Koenig breathing down his neck and Brad Patton right behind him. So these front 4 cars right now all pretty close together.
Yeah, Brad Patton's getting a really good roll through the center. He's keeping the car a lot lower, which is definitely going to help him on tire wear and even gas mileage if that comes into play here. The more you let your car roll through the center and the lower it exits the corner without binding up, you're going to be in a pretty good position. And this car looks like it's doing really well in the bottom here.
Yeah, speaking of Brad Patton, right in front of him, battle for second. Anthony Koenig's going to go around at number 7 of Brandon Bowie. Number 19 of Patton's going to fall soon. Now, these 4 are all teammates right now, all part of Nexus Esports, so expect them not to race each other too hard, although I haven't seen Koenig really giving Patton a lot of room going into the corner, and so I've seen him move down and take his runaway on the backstretch a little bit, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, teammates you always want to race each other clean, but you also know if you have the same setup, it might be really hard to pass each other, so sometimes you might take a little bit more than you give, and it might be frustrating, but that's sometimes what you have to do.
Yeah, and Bowie actually lost a couple more spots there. He's all the way back to the 5th position, so to lead the 5th in a couple laps. Oh, Patton all the way down the track right now. Look at blocks everywhere up here. Looks like Chad Pruitt's going to get underneath the 19, though.
Yeah, I've raced around Chad many times, and he's not one to give a block a chance. If you block him, you might not finish the race, so he's pretty aggressive, which allows him to run up front a lot of the times. But again, I probably wouldn't block him too many times.
Now, he also is the number 1 driver in this field, which indicates he has the highest tire rating. So by that measure, he's technically the best driver in the race. But that's a lot of different factors. We're not going to get into that. Patton's going to lose a couple more spots though. Cody Evanson looking underneath him. And Brand 6, Alexia Loma all lined up. Actually, 6 is kind of a little loose there, so it looks like Patton should have a hole right here behind the 12 car of Cody Evanson.
Yeah, they're stacking up here. It looks like all the way 2nd, all the way to about 9th, trained up a little bit, which, I've been watching David for the last couple of laps, and he's just kind of riding there in the draft, not really forcing anything, because there's really no reason to do that. He's not really losing any ground, so he might have something for these guys in the long run if he's just biding his time. You never want to see David Cater just hang around behind you, because eventually he might kick up into the higher gear and then just blow by you, so we'll see what that happens.
Yeah, this race has a little bit of a long run trend to it, a lot of single file action right now, so Cater, you never know, he might be saving his stuff a little bit, and come 10-20 laps from now he might be up there in the top 5.
Yeah, his laps are very comparable to the leader, and I don't really think he's doing anything to push his car, so he definitely might have something for him.
Yeah, speaking of the lead, Armando Vargas is already up about a second on, actually a little more over half a second on Anthony Koenig right now, who's getting passed for 2nd spot by the number 1, Chad Pruitt. Pruitt's going to look low here. Koenig, really nothing you can do on the outside. He's going to have to let him by and see if he can fall in line right now in front of Bowie, who's retaking the 4th position.
Yeah, that move that Anthony did probably saved him about 4 different spots and almost contact there.
Yeah, 19 and 12 got really close there entering turn 3. Patton raced it pretty aggressively tonight. He definitely knows he's a fast car and wants to get up front, but it's like he's throwing a couple blocks, and actually Cody tried to throw one on him, but he had none of it. 12 almost gets to his inside right there. A lot of close racing between these two so far.
Yeah, the draft, man. I'm telling you what, the draft will make someone feel like Superman sometimes. When you get a big run, you don't really want to give it up, especially if if it can cost you position, and not every position's key. But the more they race side by side, the bigger that gap ahead of them gets. So they might want to figure it out sooner or later, because, again, if they lose that draft, it might be really hard to get it back.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to catch up to multiple cars that are working together up in front of these guys. 3 of these front 4 are teammates right now. Actually, Bowie just got into the wall right there, so that'll help him catch back up. But Evanston finally cleared Patton right now, and they'll go on their way in 5th and 6th positions right now. Brandon 6, Jeff Dukart, Alexi Loma, Cater, all right here, just kind of riding behind these guys. And behind that pack, looks like Nick Zotner's moved to 11th. He started back in the 21st position, so it looks like he has a fast car as well.
Yeah, you've seen some time differences now, which is going to allow some guys to spread out, and some guys to catch up to others. But man, Armando's he's checked out, so he's not worried about the draft because he's just worried about when the checkered flag is going to wave at this point. He's man, I don't know. He's pretty quick right now. We'll see if someone can catch him with the draft.
Hold your line.
Yeah, he's just about a 9/10 of a second lead right now, and it's not often that you see people pull away, especially in a series where draft's a big factor.
Yeah, I haven't really driven this car too much at this track, but I can't imagine that two cars themselves will have enough speed to draft up to him at this point. I mean, I think they might be kind of behind here a little bit until something happens again to caught back up.
Yeah, we'll just see here. I mean, you never know with this series. You might end up with a caution or two, you know, towards the middle part of the run here. But right now, already lap 20 and still caution free, so that's a good sign. Kind of looking through the field right now, battle for 19th. Ryan Manning has, we saw him running in the top 10 a little earlier, you know, he's battling for that 10th spot. He's only back to 20th right now, so his car is definitely not handling right.
No, he's a little off pace. He's about 6/10 slower than the leader, maybe about 5.5 tenths slower than the leader, which could be a number of things. It could be really loose, like it looks like he's just sideways loose all the way through the corner, which, you know, with this car, as little horsepower as it has, if you get loose a little bit, it's very hard to get that speed back. So it's a fine line between, you know, being really fast or being really, really tight. I think he might have been a little too aggressive in that setup.
Yeah, Brian Hoff as well, right behind him in 21st, is also up and up towards the top 10. So these two are definitely guys faded here on this short run we've had right now. About a medium length run, actually. We're almost 30 laps away from pit stops, I'd say. But so these two guys have faded while we've seen Cater, Nick Zotner, and a couple other guys really rise towards the front of the field now.
Yeah, it looks like Chad Pruitt got shuffled back to 5th there, so he goes from 2nd to 5th just like that. And it looks like he's surrounded by a bunch of teammates that I don't believe are his, so that makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, now Cody Evanston is also not on XZ Sports, so he's hanging up there in the top 4 right now. It's kind of unexpected. He didn't run as well at Michigan last week, but definitely doing a good job tonight.
You got a pass for P2 again.
Number 2 of Kernick looking underneath Bowie. 12 of Evanston's going to follow suit here, moving to 3rd position. Here comes Pruitt. It's almost like that train effect here. Once you get to the outside, there's really not much you can do, and you lose many spots. And Bowie's going to go from 2nd all the way back to looks like 6th position here.
Yeah, like I said, the track like this, when you're on the high side, you're doing everything you can to try to figure out when you can get back low, because there's nothing on the high side that could actually help you. You can't set up a corner to get a better run off, because it gets really tight off of turn 4, and you get the bump in 1 and 2 right when you're going to get on the throttle, no matter where you're at. So it's just very, very hard to do anything on the high side. You're pretty much guaranteed to lose a couple spots, especially when they're tucked up like this.
Yeah, and as they battle back here for the 2nd on back, Armando Vargas just pulled about another 6/10 since last time we mentioned his lead, up to a 2.5 now on Anthony Kernick. So he's checked out right now, unless there's a caution, I think. I mean, we're getting close to pit stops. They are going to have 1 pit stop in this race. He might not be able to catch them by the end of this thing, unless he messes up on pit road.
No, I mean, it looks like these guys are taking. We have a caution.
Let's see who this is for. 24 car. Looks like
Victor.
All the way through 1 and 2. I didn't call.
I'm taking a look what happened to him. He was battling up here in 13th for the 13th spot with Justin Kirby at the time.
Checking up.
In the front stretch. What are you talking about?
I decided to warp that area.
Yeah, it looks like it doesn't look like he was too happy with Kirby and tried to give him a little bump there and just got bumper hooked and just got sent to the inside wall. So that kind of backfired on him.
Yeah, I'll rewind this a little bit. Looks like Kirby got a little high off turn 4 the lap before, and looks like Jonathan Dicker was just pushing him. And when we got to turn 2 here on the exit, Kirby looks like he got a little free maybe, and he didn't really run the high line on exit a little low. You mentioned that you get loose when you're down low, and it looks like it hooked Dickert to the inside wall, and Decker has a heavy hit there, and it's down, you know, it looks like he's blown his engine. He might be done for the race.
That guy hits me all the way through the corner and doesn't expect anything. There's a cowbush attitude for you.
Yeah, they're going at it a little
I
bit,
can
but
hit you, but don't touch me.
I don't know. I know Dicker's definitely an aggressive driver, but it looked like he was just trying to bump that guy a little bit too much, and Kirby, and it went the wrong way for him, unfortunately.
You know, Kevin, we saw this in the WCS race on Tuesday night. You took part of a little bit of the bumper hook. You know, that restart wreck that we had. I believe you were caught up in that. I'm not sure, honestly, but that restart wreck was a lot of bumper hook. Then we saw one with John Adams, Adam Gilliland, that was bumper hook because these guys hit pit road.
This is a game where we're racing imaginary.
Yeah, I was actually watching this, and I saw Jake Forster actually sideways on pit road. He's not going to be too happy about that. But going back to your point, yeah, it's very difficult now to try to bump into people. Not necessarily you want to try to push them along or whatnot, but even just getting to them, sometimes it shoots your car one way or the other. As we saw what happened to Jonathan there, and it did happen in the restart at Pocono, where it looks like someone tried to make a move, backed off, and unfortunately they got a little bit of someone's bumper, and it just shot them really abruptly to the other side of the track. It felt like, and it caused a big wreck. So they've changed something recently where that seems a lot more apparent. Seems like it happens a lot more often. It's really annoying to race with, but it's definitely something people have to be aware of.
Yeah, I know we head to Daytona in a couple weeks in this series, so when we get there, that should be definitely something to keep an eye on Super Speedway Racing, because it's very apparent there. Alright, well, let's take a quick rundown here of the field now that pit stops are over. Armando Vargas retains the lead. Anthony Kernick comes out in second, Cody Evans in third, Chad Pruitt fourth, and Brad Patton ends out your top five.
Yeah, it looks like Chad Pruitt, Brandon Hoff, 6th and 7th there. They might be, there might be something. Actually, no, Chad Pruitt's in 4th now. Sorry, David Cater's in 7th though, so he's actually caught up to these guys. He was a little off pace, but it'd be exciting to see if he can, now that he's caught up with that main fast group, can do something here, or even if Lexi can get back up to where he started.
I know you mentioned Jake Forster before getting turned on pit road. He's back in pit road now, so he'll be starting to tail into the field. And yeah, it should be interesting to see if Cater can do something. He started it back, all the way back in the 19th position right now, and already up to 7th, only 28 laps into the race, so he definitely has a hot rod tonight.
Yeah, once you get into that draft, things change a lot, and it's very hard to figure out what your car is going to do. It could go from being very neutral to being very tight, especially behind a group of cars. So it's always something to be thinking about, and how you drive your line and how hard you drive your car. So David's been around a long time. I'm sure he knows how this car's figured out. I know he's really good at this car. But now that we have these guys cut up, maybe they'll try to do something with Armando early and realize that, hey, he's really fast. We need to get around him. Yeah,
Armando actually was shuffled back to 3rd position at the start of the race, so he had to come through the field a little bit, and he's off on the way already. Green flag in the air here at Texas. He's going to get a pretty decent jump here on Cody Evans, who now moves in the 2nd. Brandon Bowie giving Chad Pruitt a little push right now, and these guys all got single file pretty quick here up in the front of the pack. First battle right now is up back in the 8th position right now between Brandon Six and Jeff Dukert.
Yeah, some pretty good battles, not too crazy. It's a typical restart so far. Looks like some of these guys have figured out that they can't stay on the high line for an entire lap, so they're trying to get down as fast as possible. But of course, that doesn't always work, and have some guys stuck up there.
Yeah, definitely, expect people to be the most aggressive on restarts, because that's where it's easiest to get track position, but not too much here. It looks like everyone kind of singled out here. Actually, some contact back towards the field. Andrew Shirley in the 21 of Kirby. Kirby's been, multiple times we've seen him with contact with a couple other drivers so far early on.
Yeah, that looked like the typical hitting the bump in the middle of the corner that shot his car up, which happens a lot here. That bump, like I've mentioned multiple times, is really the thing that really gets people in trouble here, because sometimes it'll hit it perfectly, and sometimes it'll hit it just a little bit off, and it just shoots your car up. Sometimes it'll break it loose, sometimes it makes it push. So it's very hard to be consistent sometimes if you don't hit it correctly.
Looks like Adam Long hit that bump there. Looks like Shirley's going to look under him, almost go 3 wide here. Shirley's going to do the smart thing here and back out of it. Not going to risk wrecking there off turn 2, as it really gets tight off turn 2 here. Now, turn 2 and turn 4, the wall kind of sneaks up on you. It's really easy to hit it. Brandon Hoff a little sideways here in number 6 machine, but he hangs on to it. That's going to allow Shirley to pass him on the outside. Some of the tightest racing on the track right now, but 14th spot.
Cody Evanson's doing a really good job. He doesn't really seem like he's losing too much to Armando. I know he got on the wall there a little bit off turn number 2, but he looks like his car enters the corner really well, and he keeps it low, if not lower than Armando. So we'll see if he has something for him.
Yeah, Armando's car definitely shined on the long run early on. It didn't look as fast on the short run as some of his teammates, but they might have a little variation in the setup here tonight. As you mentioned that, though, Evanson lost almost a 10th last lap, and Koenig actually getting passed by Chad Pruitt right now in the number 1 car for 3rd. So they were closing up to Evanson's back bumper, then they make some passes there, and Koenig's going to go backwards.
Yeah, Alexei Lomar just lost 9th position to Nick Zotner, so he's still falling back a little bit, unfortunately, but hopefully he can get that thing figured out and get back up there.
He actually started this race up in the 3rd position, but he was back to about 11th before green flag pit stop. Actually, not caution pit stop. Sorry about that. And still going backwards here. Chad Pruitt finally gets in line. It looks like he was actually shuffled from 3rd to 6th, so he's lost some spots there. Looks like Brad Patton's going to look underneath him in the number 19 car, or he's going to push him. Either way, all over his back bumper heading into turn 1.
Cody Evanson about a little over half a tenth faster than the leader that last time by, so we'll see. I mean, if he can keep it smooth and to see if his car can hang with him on the long run, because of course that's where Armando was faster.
Brandon
of course,
Bowie.
He didn't have that draft.
Yeah, Brandon Bowie is actually half-tenth faster than Cody last lap, so that lap Cody was the fastest car out of these front 3. He's running down Armando pretty quickly here. It looks like once you get within that 2 to 3 tenth range, the draft seems to intensify a little bit, so it makes it a little easier, but Cody's definitely going to have to drive pretty well here if he wants to stay with him.
Yeah, and you also probably have the aero effect where you get a little too close to someone, you get really tight in a certain area where you need to get on the throttle, your car starts to push, which looks like that might be happening to Cody here a little bit. You get to that little area and it's like a buffer, and you can't really get any closer than that.
Yeah, I've been in that buffer a couple of times before, and it's not fun. But looks like still hanging with him. Looks like he lost a few hundredths last lap, so just under 3/10 of a second right now to separate the front 2. Looking back through the field right now, single file almost throughout the field. Actually, the first battle right now, 17th position for David L. Brown and David Duda.
Yeah, and don't look now, but David Cater is right on these guys. He was a little off to start the race because he don't even know if he qualified. He didn't even qualify. He started 19th. And he cut to the tail end of that lead pack and just kind of hanging there like 4 car lengths back, and now he's on the back of Anthony Kernish's car. So we'll see. I mean, he might have something for these guys.
Yeah, it looks like he's still just kind of hanging out back there, just riding, and not really trying to be too aggressive early on. He definitely wants to save his car for the end of the race. Once you get up here in this about second range to the leader, with a pack right now, you don't want to do anything to jeopardize your chance, especially if you know you have a fast car.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, he's been around for a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's just going to ride around here, just draft along, and maybe save some fuel if it comes down to that. I know they still have to make a pit stop, but taking less fuel might be an option for some of these guys, or maybe even taking 2. I'm not really sure how that affects the car, but it's definitely something to think of.
Yeah, I would expect the majority of the field to take 2 tires there if we do get a green flag pit stop. Actually, Brad Patton just took over 3rd position for Brandon Bowie, but Bowie wants it back in the number 7 machine, so he's going to look underneath Patton again, and just kind of do a flip-flop for positions there for a lap.
Good job, thanks, man.
Kevin, I know that probably gets annoying as a driver. I'm sure you've done that in races before where you kind of get in a battle with some guy, but you just keep going back and forth, and you really lose time on the guys in front of you and allow the pack to catch up to you.
Yeah, there's sometimes you do that just because maybe you don't really like the guy, or you really made a mistake and don't feel like you should have been passed. But the reality is, if you do get passed, you kind of have to suck it up and just say, you know what, I got passed. I can keep going at it and lose more time, or I can just sit where I'm at and try to catch up to those guys, especially in a draft situation. So when they keep going back and forth like that, all they're really doing is losing time to the guys in front of them, making the guys behind them catch up, and then really using up the cars in the meantime.
Yeah, especially being teammates. I know if you're racing with a teammate and you're running here 3rd and 4th spot, and you see the front 2 guys kind of inching away, you definitely don't want to be battling. You know, you just say, all right, do the friendly thing, you know, the teammate thing to do, and just let them go. But they don't seem to be doing that right now.
No, it does look like, you know, Brandon might have been a little faster. Maybe he made a mistake that allowed Brad to get by him, but it definitely let, you know, Chad just kind of hang out there and watch them do their thing while David, you know, passed Anthony for 6th. So you keep doing that, instead of driving away, you'll have some guys that are passing people behind you that won't even lose time because you're making passes in front of you.
Yeah, that time Brad actually had a run on Brandon off turn 4 right there, and he stayed behind him and gave him a little push down the straightaway, and their last lap times were faster than both the guys in front of them. So see, the drafting thing definitely does work, and they're starting to run down the front 2 again.
It looks like Chad got on the wall in turn number 2, because here comes David for 4th position. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're getting close. Really close there out through turn 3 and 4. Chad did not give him a lot of room in that number 1 machine. He has a little bit of right side damage, so it looks like he did get into the wall. And Cater, not really much Chad can do here. He's going to have to give up the spot. And you can pinch all you want, but that inside is definitely going to prevail.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where you can try all you want, but unless the guy in the bottom hits the apron and gets loose and out of the bottle for like 2 seconds, it's really, really hard to hold your ground up there. Even if you have the superior car, it's just the way the track is made and all the bumps and characteristics of it. You just can't really hold it up there.
Yeah, and as we're talking about that battle, number 19 of Patton scooted back around Bowie for the 3rd position, so once again they swap positions. And now they're about 6 tenths behind the leader, and we got Cody Evanson in 2nd. He's hanging with Armando. He's doing a great job right now in this run. He's a little slower than Armando last lap, but he's up there, you know, within 2 tenths of him right now, so he's definitely in striking distance.
Yeah, I don't really like that move that the Brad did, only because it looked like Brandon had just as fast as car as the guys ahead of him. But now they've lost that gap, and you know the draft, like you said, isn't as strong the further you go, and it didn't really do anything except push them back. So he might have gained a position, but in the grand scheme of things, he lost time to the guys that he's really chasing.
Yeah, and these guys look pretty even. Bowie and Patton do. I believe they were running together the first run as well. So now Brad was faster than the front 2 last lap, and Bowie was actually faster than Armando last lap as well. But still, they're still losing time by doing that. I mean, it's going to take them maybe 3-4 laps to make up the time that lost from that one turn where they passed each other.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, just to say that, Brad runs about a 10th faster than those guys ahead of him, but of course, that just means you're using up your tires that much more, which might bite you later on. You can only run so fast, so hard for so many laps before eventually that right front wears off. And I don't know, man, Cody Evanson, he's just staying right there with Armando, and I don't know if Armando likes that too much, because last run you're just by yourself the entire time, and this guy behind you is running the track a lot lower on exit, and that's gets a little frightening sometimes as a leader.
Yeah, it looks like he enters the turn a little bit lower too, so really lower all the way around. But this time of the run last time, it's about lap 15 of a run. Actually, about lap 17, almost lap 20. But these guys right now, Armando had about an 8 tenths of a second lead. In this run, he only has about a 1.5 tenths of a second lead. So it's definitely scary as a leader. I know you don't want to be in that position where you know you have the fastest car, and then all of a sudden you don't anymore. But Cody started back in 8th spot, so it took him a while to get up here. But he's showing that he's something to contend for the win tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and also changes the car. I mean, Armando had a number of laps where he wasn't having any aero effects. The only aero he was having was downforce in front of his car, making it drive the best it could. And then you get someone behind you, and all of a sudden you're getting a little loose when you weren't getting loose. And here comes Brad looking for that 2nd position.
Yeah, Cody gives him plenty of room. We're going to let him take the spot here, so Cody will file back into 3rd. And, we might have been wrong. Brad might have had a little better than car than Bowie, because Bowie's still way back here around the same times as Armando is the leader, or actually slower. Yeah, Bowie's last lap of 44, Armando's was a 37, so Patton looks out the fastest car in track right now.
Yeah, I don't know if he made some changes or whatnot, or decided to finally get on the wheel, but he's moving. His car just launched off of turn number 2, and I don't know. If I was Armando, I would probably be worried about Cody, but now here comes Brad. It's another person to worry about. It's not too fun.
Yeah, Brad and Armando are teammates at Nexus Esports, so I'm no stranger to see these guys up front in these Class B races. But as you mentioned it before, David Cater, he's closing on Bowie pretty quickly, almost a 10th of lap right now, and he's slowly moving into this top picture here.
Yeah, I definitely expect David Cater to be up there, or at least fighting for the top 3. If it's not on the track, it's going to be in the pit somehow with some type of strategy. His car is good enough to be up there with him. obviously, and it's just going to be a matter of time before he gets up there and challenges these guys.
Yeah, last lap, Cater was the fast car on the track. He was the only car in the 30.3 range, so right now this lap Patton was, but looks like number 5 of David Cater, still pretty quick on track, always in the top 3 of the times, it looks like, for the last 5-10 laps or so, and he'll be at Bowie's back bumper soon.
Yeah, I don't know. Not really sure what happened to Bowie. He was running, low 3s there, and all of a sudden he's down in the 5s, and it's not really draft because he's still close enough with a draft that's going to make him just as fast as he is behind him. But I don't know if he's just really loose or what. But he's lost some time here.
Yeah, we mentioned a little early on, at the start of the race, he was a little fraying. That's what cost him the lead at first. So he might still be a little loose. He might have made an adjustment that went the wrong way, and that might hurt his car. And I know you mentioned something about there being a little arrow back up here to the lead. It looks like Patton really isn't able to close on Vargas, so it looks like whoever you're in second, you're really stuck unless the leader makes a mistake, because it looks like Evans gave it a shot, and now Patton, and neither one of them can get around Armando.
Yeah, he was 600s faster that last time by, but even still, 600s is not going to really allow you to make a pass, especially with the car that has lower horsepower. Just to say that, Armando hits the wall for turn number 2.
Yeah, battle for the lead. Actually, Cater just took 4th position away, but Brad Patton to the lead. So for the first time in about almost 40 laps, Armando Vargas is going to lose the lead here. But good run off turn 4. Let's see if we can go get it back from Patton.
He hit that wall pretty hard. His car, I know you said these cars can take a bit of a lick coming off the corner, but he hit that thing pretty hard. And we'll see if he can get it back together, because he's not used to really racing people in long runs this late into a run right here. So we'll see if that affects him.
Yeah, and I know when you hit the wall on the right side, generally 9 out of 10 times it's going to make the car a bit tighter than what it was. And being back here behind a car, it's definitely not going to help that, because they'll make it even tighter.
We'll see if that proves to be his downfall, as he has Cody all over him. And of course, David Cater's got some clean air there as well, pulling away from the guys behind him. So David Cater, he started 19th, and he's slowly driven his way up there. Like I said, it's no surprise, but he's there. I mean, he's right around where he needs to be.
Yeah, over a 10th faster than our leader last lap. Actually, Chad Pruitt was even faster than him. So Chad does have some right side damage, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. Now, if I was Chad Pruitt right now in this situation, the number 1 machine, I'd stay behind David, kind of follow him up there, because even though he ran a 4:07 last lap, which is by far the fastest car on the track, it looks like. If he rides behind David here, uses the draft, they might be able to catch these front 3, because they're both outrunning them.
Yeah, this is one of the positions where you're a faster car, and you're weighing the pros and cons of passing. You pass him and lose 2 tenths and gain. Have to use 5 laps to get that back up, or you gotta just ride here and see if he makes a mistake before you do anything. That's where it makes a difference to figure out what type of move he's gonna make on him, because he could go back and forth and just try to make a pass where it's the slowest part of the racetrack and cost him more time than it was worth.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to make the pass right now. Yep. They actually lost some time last lap, so David's going to let him go. Smart thing to do there, not fight. You can catch this lead pack. You don't want to cost yourself time, and that's definitely a smart option there. Cater
Pitting.
Yeah, Chad got a really good run off the corner. He didn't lose any time to David there, obviously, but he made the pass where they both wouldn't lose that much time. Of course, David's going to lose a little time making the pass, but Chad still ran a 47 last time, and he was still faster than the guys ahead of him. So yeah, that was a really good job by him.
And we were talking about Brandon Bowie before. He just made a green flag pit stop. So Bowie onto the track now. I'm going to go back and see how many tires he took, but really early for a green flag pit stop, seems like. But Bowie off and away now. Only took right side tires, so 2 tire stop for Brandon Bowie. He looks really loose right that, actually. As someone else comes down the road, it's number 9, Chris Seymour.
Yeah, taking 2 tires, if you're loose, I mean, you're going to be hurting for the first couple laps unless you made an adjustment to tighten that thing back up. But taking 2 tires is a gamble, so we'll see if it pays out.
It looks like Anthony Kernick on pit road as well, but he sped, so that's going to lost him 15 seconds on the track, which is quite a bit.
Yeah, we had those first group of guys there that were, hanging right with them the first run, and all of a sudden they're hanging back and they couldn't catch up, and now they're starting to make some moves here and see if they can get caught back up, but I don't think it's going to work for them.
Yeah, Jake Forster, Nick Zotner also on pit road. And see when these leaders come in, it'll be kind of interesting. We're gonna have to pay attention to when these leaders decide to come to pit road, because about 5 cars already made their green flag stops, and they're gonna be quite a bit faster than these front guys right now. But after, you know, when these guys come down pit road, they'll have a big advantage from staying out a little longer.
Yeah, it looks like the fall off is about 1.2 seconds. At least I'm looking at Cody Evanson's fast lap, which is a 29.4, to his current lap, which is a 30.4. It looks like it's around a second to 1.5 seconds on the slow end. So you definitely can make up some time. But the problem is, if you're already 2 seconds behind, it's really not going to help.
Brandon Hoff on pit road as well right now. Here comes our leader, or actually running second right now, Armando Vargas and Cody Evanson, both down pit road at the same time. Looks like they both get it locked down in time, and it's interesting they will take 2 tires or 4 tires. I'd expect to take 2 here with only about 30 laps to go.
Yeah, they both got on pit road very, very well. We'll see how they get in their pit boxes here.
Cody got in pretty well here, and Armando does the same, so see, it took a while to get the total car up, actually. Seeing one goes right sides only, it looks like. Yep, right sides, and he's away. Armando as well. They're going to go a lap down, so Brad Patton put a lap on these guys here, and so will David Cater. I believe Chad Pruitt pitted as well in the #1 car. He's on pit road now.
And this is the time where you try to weigh, okay, do I stay out as long as possible to try to get some advantage on fresh tires, or do I hope for a caution and run the fuel all the way dry? If you stay out too long, it comes to the point of no return, where your fresh tires are only going to get you caught up so much. And if these guys are putting second on you every single lap, and you're staying out there for 5 laps, well, that's 5 seconds you're hoping to catch up. And the time differences when you come out of the pits isn't going to be a second. So it gets very, very tricky here. Oh, big slide there by the 1 car, and 12 car almost had contact coming out of the pits.
And that was a close call there for Chad Pruitt. He's going to come out right now behind Chris Seymour, so it looks like he lost some time. Actually, Pruitt sideways again. That's going to cost him a lot of time.
He looks like he's hanging on. He looks really slow. Maybe took too much fuel there. But he might be really, really loose.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on him right now as he's really sideways that first lap out of the pits. It looks like the car might come in a little bit now, but the first couple corners on 2 tires is definitely tricky. Right now, our leaders. Yeah.
I'm watching leaders Brad and David and even Alexi. I can only imagine that they're trying to keep themselves out there as long as possible in hopes of a yellow, because at this point there's really no way that they can pit and take 2 tires and catch up. The time difference is just going to be so minimal that I don't think it's going to work out for them. So it looks like they're hoping for a yellow here.
Yeah, Bowie is actually last lap with a 30.23, Cater's a 66, and Brad Patton's a 52. So, but if the yellow does come out, Patton has only, strapped most of the field a lap down. It's only 11 cars in the lead lap right now, so that's definitely big if caution were to come out.
Yeah, what you're doing when you're staying out, you're hoping someone with the faster car gets into, obviously in a wreck with someone with a slower car, or they can't handle the car coming out of the pits or something like that, to get yourself back either an advantage or back caught up, because a lot of these guys are strung out all over the racetrack, so it's really going to come down to someone making a mistake on new tires.
As mentioned, that 11th place Dan Gray comes down pit road, so he's going to go a lap down here, at least 10 on the lead lap, so guys who have not made a pit stop yet: Brad Patton, David Cater, Alexi Loma, Andrew Shirley, Jeff Dukart, Adam Long, Ryan Manning, David O. Brown, Fernando Bento, and Alex Scribner. Those guys will definitely be at a disadvantage on the track once they come out of pit road after they do make their stop. Brandon Bowie will actually, I believe, would cycle around to the lead if it were over, so he pitted a couple laps earlier than everyone else, and he has an advantage right now. As they come up on David Cater, pass him, and unlap themselves from David. So if Brad were to pit, and give David the lead, they'd be on the lead lap if the caution were to come out in that situation.
You're trying to figure out who's going to be the guy. Oh, well, it looks like it's going to be Armando. Armando is 3/10 faster than Brandon, so his strategy, while it helped him catch up, it might help him get a top 5 if this were to go green, which is pretty close to where he was before he made his move. But what he's looking for is everyone hitting that plateau of tires. He wants everyone to run around the 30.3, 30.4 range where he's currently at, to keep himself in the position where he's not going to lose any more spots, which
Oh, this corner,
it
Dave.
may work. I know David Cater's still out there, and I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be like 7 seconds behind these guys once he makes his pit stop. So, his job, his spot for Brandon Bowie might have paid off for him.
Yeah, Bowie's been doing a good job here on these older tires and the guys in front of him. He's hanging with them now, so he might have someone to help his car. Actually, Cody Evanson's looking near Vargas right now as they head down in turn 1.
And this is going to be battle for the lead because I don't think anyone else is going to be able to catch these guys, at least the top two, because they're going to have the newer tires, unless Brandon Bowie's got something underneath his sleeve that we're not aware of. But it's going to be towards these guys as they go for a crossover.
Yeah, Cody almost threw a block there. He thought about it, but actually gave Armando a little bit of room there and that slowed down his entry. So Cody's going to hang on the outside here out of turn 4, but that won't last past turn 2.
No, unfortunately, he's going to have to give away and lose 2 spots here only because he did the smart thing not to hitting that bump in 1 and 2. He did the perfectly good move right there where you get back in line and maybe you get a run and get back 1 spot, but looks like he's just pretty content to ride in 3rd for now.
Yeah, no, he definitely has newer tires than Bowie, and Bowie knows that. Bowie's going to give him a decent amount of room here, and he's going to go back up there to what would be 2nd spot, unless the caution does come out and kind of ruin these guys' races. That's what those 10 guys right now, actually, yeah, 10 guys that have not pitted yet are hoping for a caution, definitely right now.
And I'm pretty sure Cody's aware that he's got 2 teammates surrounding him, so he knows what he has to do. He has to keep in between them. He knows Brandon's going to race him really hard to make sure Armando gets a lead on him, and that's really what Brandon is there for. He's there to become not so much a blocker, but he wants to make Cody his rest of his race really, really hard so that Armando can kind of get away from him.
Bowie's not going to be able to do that anymore. It looks like the tire disadvantage that he's at right now showed a little bit, and Cody's put a decent gap on him about a car length, but he gets another couple car lengths away, and Bowie's going to have a hard time catching back up to him.
23rd.
But one thing to point out, Cody's car doesn't look as strong on 2 tires as it was on 4 with Armando. Armando's starting to pull him a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if he's a little loose or a little tight. It looks like Armando's really, really neutral, which is obviously going to help him. Being unstable with these cars is a pretty big deal, just because, you know, they're like big go-karts running around the track, and that little bit where you're not on the throttle, you're on the throttle the wrong way, or maybe you're a little too tight and scrubbing speed, that catches up to you.
Yeah, we saw these guys struggling for grip right there on 2 tires at first. They all looked really loose, but tightens up quick on 2, and by the end of the run, you're kind of wishing you took 4 because the car gets so tight. But Armando's not really struggling with that yet. It doesn't look like he doesn't really have to lift off the gas on exit, and really neutral, which is definitely what you want to see on 2 tires.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the guys who stayed out so long, it doesn't look like it's going to work out for them. If I were them, you're pretty much in no man's land. You only have one decision to make, and that's pit when you have to pit. There's really no reason to pit anytime sooner. The time that you stayed out 5 laps longer than everyone else, you've already made up your mind of what you were going to do, and that was just to run the tank dry. So, unfortunately for those guys, it doesn't look like it's working out. I'm not really sure how many more laps they have to go, but I expect those guys in pretty shortly.
Well, I'm just going to point out right now, if you ask Alex Scribner how many laps he has of gas left, he might be able to go the distance. He looks like he's 26 seconds behind Brad Patton right now, but if you pay attention to his car going into the corners, he's clutching it, and he's saving a lot of fuel doing that, so he might be trying to go the distance here.
Yeah, but even doing that, he's a 1.5 seconds slower than Armando, and that's going to catch up to him really quick if he's just trying to make it to the end here.
Yeah, but we're down to almost 10 laps to go here, 12 laps. This isn't a lot of time to these guys. Patton's actually catching him quickly, so he might not win the race, but he can definitely gain some spots out of it.
Oh, definitely he might get himself a nice finishing spot, because I believe he was mired in the 10th or so area all race. So this is the stuff you have to do to try to get yourself a good finishing spot, and it is what it is.
A couple other guys trying to save fuel. Looks like Fernando Bento and David L. Brown also clutching up here, and they're way in front of Scribner, so if they can go the distance, they might be able to steal a win here. When judging by lap times, it looks like those are the only guys that might be saving some fuel here. That's we're down, actually, Brad Patton on pit road, it looks like, right? No? Yeah.
Pitting up here in front of you, Alexa.
Looks like Cater and Alexi are coming in this time by as well.
That's 2 tires for Brad Patton. We're going to see how far back he comes out. He is not, he's
Alexi
literally
goes by.
at the, yeah. Armando is already past Brad and pulling away, so Brad lost a lot of time here. So we got David Cater in on pit road. Looks like should be 2-tire stop here. You might even gamble and go with fuel only at this stage.
Armando passed Alex Scribner for basically the lead of the race here, unless he can. Who's the other gentleman's name? Fernando can somehow make up time, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Good to you up here and
Yeah, Kevin, it looks like Cater might have sped on pit road. He was there for an awfully long time, didn't see any tires go on it, and he's lost a lot more track position than the other guys, so tough break there for David Cater.
Yeah, it's real too bad. Unfortunately, sometimes these races pan out that way where you'll run really good and then something will happen and you're either indecisive or you think something's going to work because you take a gamble and it doesn't pay out, and then things go wrong all over the board. So he had a good run. He showed that he could run through the field. I know he hasn't been racing recently, but he started 19th. He was up there top 5 driving through these guys. So he's definitely can take that back, that he can still make some pretty good setups and run with some of these guys.
And Armando Vargas takes a spot from David L. Brown now, so Brown and Scribner are both passed by our front runners, and the only car left that might be have enough gas to go the distance is Fernando Bento.
And his times aren't too bad. I mean, he's running 30.8s when everyone else is probably maybe a half a second faster than that, but he has a pretty good lead. He's got 7 seconds on Armando right now, and half a second a lap in 7 laps is probably not going to cut it.
Ryan Manning also clutching through that corner. Look at his lap time is almost to the 32-second range. That lap actually was, so he's off the pace a lot. Looks like Bento might not have saved that lap. It looks like. I mean, he might have kind of accepted the fact that he's going to run out and just go for it. But Ryan Manning's saving as well right now, so that leaves 2 guys right now in front of the leader that could possibly make it.
Yeah, and this is where green flag stops and green flag races get really interesting, because I remember happening to me at Indy where you'll take off and you'll be really fast and be beating guys by 30 seconds, and all of a sudden it'll go green and they'll beat you. Not because they had tire strategy, or just because maybe they were just a little bit slower overall, and just being so much slower actually helped them save fuel. So this looked like this might be happening here.
Yeah, and Jeff Ducart's pitted, so from the second position. So that leaves 4 cars on the racetrack right now that are in front of Orlando that have not pitted yet. Alexi, Ryan Manning, and Fernando Bento. That's 3 cars. Excuse my mouth.
We got about 5 laps to go here. It's going to get really interesting to see who can make it.
Right now, Alexi Loma is on pit road, so that leaves those 2 guys out there. Alexi's fuel only for him. He's going to not lose too much time out of it. Actually, yes, he will. Armando's already passed him. Never mind. But so Alexi, he was running back around the 9th spot. He might gain some track position out of this.
It looks like Fernando. He's catching up on Ryan Manning here. He looks like he's a koala chasing a wallaby up here. He's all over.
Oh!
No contact.
I think Manning said he was pitting, and Fernando didn't pit.
Ryan.
They're both on pit road, and yeah, their race is over. So that brings Armando Vargas back to the lead.
Sorry, Dan.
Wow,
Let's go back and
crazy.
let's go back and look at this. I believe on voice chat, Ryan Manning might have come on the radio and said pitting, and Fernando might not have heard him. So we look here, we go through turn 4. Fernando Bento had so much more speed than Ryan Manning, and just couldn't react fast enough to Ryan braking on the track and just ran him over there. So tough break for both those guys.
Yeah, sometimes what I like to do is a lot of people turn off voice chat during a race because they get so focused, and using and relying on voice chat isn't always the best idea. I always make sure to put a hotkey to let them know that I'm pitting, just to make sure I have all my bases covered. So it probably would have been a good idea to see that, but it happens, and unfortunately it took them both out.
Yeah, another thing is braking on the track. That's something I don't usually do. I mean, so the guy behind you's aware that you're pitting, you can brake on the track, but a lot of times it's definitely safer to go to the apron before you start lifting off the throttle.
Exactly, especially when the guy's catching you by 3 or 4 tenths a lap. It's the closing rate is so fast, and when they don't even expect it, it's just it's a disaster.
Yep. So looks like that cycles back around. Armando Vargas is the leader by almost a second. Over a second right now on a slowly losing ground. Number 12 Cody Evanson, but Brad Patton third right now. He's recovered nicely on his 2 tires, still faster than these guys, but doesn't look like he has enough time.
No, but Brandon Bowie, let's give a call to Brandon Bowie. He made that strategy work for him. He short pit a little bit than everyone else, and probably drove really, really hard to gain as much time as he could, and he's going to end up with the top 5.
Yeah, that's a good job by Bowie. There's Wreck somewhere on track. Oh, with some Kirby
Yeah,
around.
leave it to Fernando.
Oh, we had a Kirby smash?
Couldn't race clean to save his ass.
Not sure what happened there. David Brown out of gas. It looks like they're hitting each other
I'm out of
again.
gas.
More contact.
Yeah, 16 out of Kirby. Our leader's nowhere near this, by the way.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh.
God. More
I think
contact.
the race is over.
Oh, more contact. Kirby off the track. Takes it.
big
They're all
wreck.
going. Big wreck. Adam Long, Justin Kirby. Kirby gets hit by someone else.
Kirby smashed again.
17, Dan Denayer, Ryan Manning involved. Lots of wrecks. But anyway, Armando Vargas won the race as we were paying attention to that. He came across the line to win. Second place right now, Cody Evanson. Third place, Brad Patton. Fourth place, Brandon Bowie. So he getting close spot to that. Chad Pruitt comes out 5th.
Good winner.
I'm not real sure what happened to Kirby. He was in the middle of the groove there. Once the leaders,
and Brad and Brandon,
and I guess it wasn't the leaders. It was
there.
Anthony Kearns came upon him, and he was a good 10 mile an hour slower into the corner, so he gave him a little bit of a bump, and it was just crazy carnage after that.
Thank you, Kirby.
Yeah, let's look at the replay. And it looks like Kirby, I don't know if he knew Fernando Bento wasn't there. Fernando entered the corner, I think about normal, might have entered a little high. And looks like a little bit of net code contact there, but Kirby went around, did a good job hanging on to it for the most part, hit the wall a little bit, but after that I'm not really sure what happened.
Anthony,
16 ran out of gas, and they got really close bunched up here.
Man,
fuel, I would have put him in the wall.
I'm pretty sure that car, the 21, is used up because it's
Justin, you didn't hold the line, man.
the one to turn one there, and it just got ping pong all over the track there.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame Adam Long there for running in the back. It looks like Kirby was off the pace by a lot, and Adam really had nowhere to go, and Kirby kind of overcorrected and took him and Adam Long for the ride.
Yeah, unfortunately that happens, especially when you have a damaged car. You can't really control it. Speed down, obviously, when these guys are hauling the mail down the front stretch, and if you're not up to speed, then
Anthony didn't do anything
something's
to
gonna
you.
happen.
You just straight up
something
turned
did
me.
happen.
Yeah, Armando Vargas celebrating right now in the front straightaway. I said our top 5 before. 6th place Chris Seymour kind of snuck up there out of nowhere.
Maybe
7th
you
place
thought
Lexi
I
Oloma,
was
so he gained a couple spots
Fernando,
out of staying
but I
out so long.
wasn't Fernando.
So, variation of strategies there. We had Bowie gain spots by putting
No,
early,
Fernando
Alexi gained
wrecked me
spots
in
by waiting so
3.
long. So I guess, you know,
Watch the replay, Justin.
depends on how you play it, I guess.
I just did.
Yeah, I was looking at Chris Seymour
So,
sometimes
my
throughout
fault.
the race, and I noticed that he was
wrecked me,
kind of
that's
staying
all
there,
there
but I
is to
didn't
it.
think he had enough time, and he had lost too much track position to make any moves.
you
But
came down on me.
finishing 4 seconds back isn't too bad. So good job to him.
And
Alright,
Kid we
but,
mentioned lost 15 seconds by
that's
Speedy.
still
He finished
not an
24
excuse
seconds
for wrecking
behind,
the
so
anchor in
we
it.
take 24 minus 15. We'll put him in
Adam,
a spot where he would have
actually,
finished. So tough
you
break for
hit
him.
me, and that's
You guys have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, I can't get over the fact that there was all kinds of carnage.
you hit me. That's what got me
after
loose.
the
And
race.
that's why I
we
hooked
didn't
the
have
hard right like
too
that.
much excitement all the way to the race because it was such a green flag.
No, brother, I never
event,
touched
but,
you.
as Tim Terry would say, there was curs everywhere.
And
Really,
that was
Adam?
still pretty good racing now throughout the field. They did a good
You
job.
hit me
Only one
once,
caution
that's
tonight.
what
Just
turned
like
me
last
down
week,
into the
so,
apron, and
these
that's-
draft
and then
tracks
I
usually
hooked
expect
up
a lot
after
of
I hit
contact
the
going into
apron.
corners, guys trying to dive bomb and
Are
stuff.
you
We didn't really
kidding
see
me?
too much of that. A lot
Really?
of close racing, but
Because
did a good job
the
keeping it
replay
clean
I'm
for the most
playing,
part.
there's half a car length between us, and
Yeah,
you're
very
already
good job.
hooking,
These guys did a
hooking
really
the,
good job.
replay,
Considering
near the
that the
contact.
cars are probably really close. Draft takes a big effect in how they handle. There were some really aggressive moves towards the start of the race, and the guys were swapping positions back and forth. But eventually they figured it out and decided, hey,
Oh,
we
all
should
I'm
probably
hearing
just run what we're
silence
supposed to
now.
run and go from there. And
You believe me now?
the guys who were able to do that the best obviously won the race, and everyone
Fucking
finished pretty
dumbass.
much where they probably should have.
Yeah, I mean, except for Cater and maybe Anthony Koenig,
Hard
who
read
sped
a
on pit
lot.
road. I think they could have finished up there in the top 10 for sure, but everyone else pretty much finished where they ran the whole race, and green flag pit stops made it exciting. A couple guys trying to stretch it downfield, but did not work.
Anthony,
So
I didn't realize it was Adam
everyone did a great
being
job though
his
there at
typical
the end,
self.
except for a couple guys who got into it. But it's racing. Sometimes it happens.
Yep, racing is not always the fastest car that wins, but sometimes you have guys that really don't deserve where they're supposed to finish, and you have guys that finish where they're supposed to. It's just the way it is, and that's what makes racing fun.
Yeah, especially in these long green flag runs here. We got a 65 lap run almost to the end there, and I think Armando showed he was the fastest car all race along, and he got the win tonight.
Yeah, he definitely deserved it. One of the faster cars on the track, and it looked like Cody had something for him. But after the adjustments they made on pit road, it looked like Armando did the right call and took off.
Yep, he did make the right call. Pitted pretty early. Him and Cody actually pitted at the same time, so he did a good job there stretching the gap, and good win Armando once again. We're gonna see if we can maybe get our winner in TeamSpeak, and I'm gonna try to send a couple messages out here and see if we can maybe find Armando, and maybe a couple other guys who finished up front. Yeah, but Kevin, this track definitely, it kind of behaved the way we thought it would. With the bumps and stuff, we saw a lot of that being showcased throughout the race.
Yeah, the bumps, it almost makes this track a single groove track, which is a little unfortunate, but it is product of how the track is raceable. So it's one of those things where you have to take that in consideration, how you get around the track, where you make your moves, where you give up positions, because it will affect the outcome of how you race sometimes. And it definitely provided some pretty good moments there and some scary moments for some guys that, got cut up on the high side for a few laps and decided that they couldn't get down, and they went from, where they started all the way to the back of the pack, as we saw Zach Hudson do early on in the race. So it's definitely one of those races where, racetracks where being on the high side is definitely not where you want to be.
Yeah, and actually Zach, we mentioned him earlier. He fell over back to, I think, 26th spot it was, you said. He only finished 19th, so he definitely had definitely a lot easier to lose spots than it is to gain spots, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely never want to lose spots early in a race unless you really know you have a really fast car. But even still, it's so hard to pass, and it's easier to lose spots that you don't want that to happen. So he was just put in a bad position, and unfortunately it cost him towards the end.
Yeah, and a tough run for him, but a couple other guys that we mentioned earlier in the race that might have had a good run going. I know we mentioned Dick Zotner once. He made a lot of spots up. He finished 9th. Jake Forster, another guy you mentioned who got that trouble on pit road, he worked his way all the way up from that tail end of the field right there about that one restart, and finished 10th spot, so he brought home a top 10 out of it.
Yeah, good job to him as well.
Now Brian 6 is running up there in top 7 or 8 most of the race, ends up 11th. Ducard as well was up in the top 8. He only ended up in 12th. And Andrew Shirley, another name we didn't really talk about much. She was towards the back of the field, ended up 8th out of it. So they all did a pretty good job there.
Hey, guys.
We have our race winner tonight, Armando Vargas. Armando, it looks like from the start of the race you had the fastest car. You dropped back a little bit early, but it got to the front. Tell us about what that first run was and how you were able to pull over a second on the field.
Man, that was a tough one. I knew I had a fast car. It was just breaking away from the draft. And, Cody hung on with me in that second run. It was just trying to drive my butt off, trying to pull away from him. I hit the wall one time there and let people by. So I knew I had to beat him on the pit stops, and I couldn't really do that, but I got away from him on those 2 tires.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of pit strategy in this race. Tell us why you chose to choose your pit strategy. And we're a little nervous the caution's going to come out after you pitted and you might have gotten trapped a lap down.
I took that risk just because I knew if I could pull away from the draft, then I think I had the race won. And I took 2 tires because I saw Cody earlier in the week. He took 2 tires, so I assumed he was going to take 2. Luckily, I made the right choice. I took 2. Car was still fast, and we got the W.
I know you had a lot of teammates in the race tonight, as you normally do. And what's it like to race teammates that have the same setup and it's gonna be close racing the whole time?
It's tough. You just gotta, we don't want to wreck each other, but we tell each other before the race we're still gonna race each other hard, and we're not gonna cut anybody some slack. So we all go in there knowing we all have the same setup. It's any man's race. You just gotta drive your butt off.
All right, Armando, thanks for showing up here in TeamSpeak and giving us a little chat, and also congrats on your win.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. See you later.
Yep. All right, well, that was our race winner, Armando Vargas, and he did an awesome job tonight. He's really fast in these series usually, and did a heck of a job tonight.
Yeah, he definitely showed that he had, whatever setup they came upon, he was able to take that setup and drive it better than everyone else on that team. So he definitely deserved it.
Yep, and Kevin, any final thoughts on today's race? I don't know how often you broadcast here or not, but what was your take on it from the booth?
It was a really good race. There wasn't many wrecks. I almost expected a little bit more wrecks only because of how hard it is to pass sometimes, but everyone did a really good job. The strategies were really interesting, but it was definitely one of those things where you expected some people to take a risk and figure out, okay, I can't keep up with these guys. What can I do to make up track position? And you saw that with Brandon and his pit stop. And unfortunately, you saw some guys trying to get a little bit too much and too greedy, like the Cater did, and lost some time there. So it was definitely a good race, and those guys did a really good job.
Yeah, everyone did a great job tonight for sure. It was, you know, it wasn't the most exciting race, but it was a good, clean race. Definitely want to see on here on iRacing. You don't see too much of that anymore. So, from me, Kevin King, and everyone here at iRacing Brazil, we're going to say goodnight.